And if you are someone who loves Yasujiro Ozu as much as I do, you absolutely must see this film, and you should own it in your collection. Hey, welcome back to Cody in the Cinema. And today I'm discussing the new 4K release of Wim Wender's excellent Perfect Days. Another excellent addition from this wonderful artist-director in the collection. And our story is a simple one, and it mirrors an Ozu story. A man lives by himself, he cleans toilets, and he goes through a regular, everyday life with very little. He has cassette tapes, an old camera, and we learn a lot about how we can live as better people through his eyes. When I was watching this movie, and sometimes movies like this bring me back to an old memory of mine, this VHS copy that's falling apart apparently, of The Wizard of Oz. I'll hold it this way so I don't break it anymore. When I was a kid, apparently I watched this thing on loop. And now, I'm making YouTube videos about movies, but this was such an important piece of physical media to me. You had to physically rewind it. It has this neat gloss that kind of still reflects the light. It's interesting, but I do have a 4K of it now, but I remember this just being such an important object to me, this sort of holding together Wizard of Oz VHS. And so much of the essence of what this movie has to say about art, I think, is reflected in my old VHS copy of The Wizard of Oz. This is a protagonist, Hirayama, who enjoys and appreciates even the smallest pleasures in life, particularly when it does come to something like physical media. In fact, there's a whole sequence, a beautiful one, in a shop where someone's trying to sell some cassette tapes just for a temporary profit boost, and he refuses to be a part of this. He enjoys picking inexpensive books up at the store and reading them. This is someone who has found value in taking a camera and tilting it upward and taking great pictures of trees in a park at lunch. He's asked, why do you care about these toilets? Why do you care about these bathrooms? If they're clean or not? And it's the sense that art can add to a society in the same way, not just art, but common acts of good. So of course I want the facilities that women and children and men use to be clean. When you look at these actual bathrooms, they're pretty to look at. They're well designed. The architecture is stunning, and in fact, and throughout this whole film, the views, the way that Tokyo is shot. I mean, Wim Wenders is no small fan of Tokyo. If you watch the supplements, he discusses how he fell in love with that city. And you can see the Ozu influence all throughout this film, because if you are unfamiliar, this director is someone who was greatly inspired and touched by Ozu films. And there are some very clear nods to that in here. One of them, and probably the easiest for any Ozu fan to pick up on, is the bicycles from Late Spring. That is just, it's pretty heavy in there. There's another one that I picked up on in one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where some characters are in a bar restaurant and someone sings a cover of a popular classic rock American song. And I saw, multiple scenes, not just from Late Spring, other movies. And this is a man who wanted to make a film that you can tell had its heart in the Ozu tradition. The family drama that you associate with these Tokyo Ozu films does come into play here in an original, thoughtful way that's not derivative of Ozu. In fact, I think if that filmmaker were alive and were to see this film, I think he would say, you know what? I really like what you did with some of my ideas and how you kind of transform them into your own thing. Now, if you watch the supplements, you'll see that the director kind of made this into like a fictional documentary. I don't want to say it's exactly like something like Nanook of the North, the silent film, but it kind of is. The fiction becomes reality, and the reality is fiction. It's the lines blur, and our actor here, Yakusho Koji, the nuance that he plays here, and this is a performance worthy of someone like Shishi Ryu from the Ozu films. It's touching, it's caring, it's not cheesy, it's impactful. This is a film that I would imagine some audience members will cry watching this, especially depending on certain family circumstances that I don't want to spoil the plot here too much. But beyond that, other things that I noticed, I felt like I saw some of the loneliness and some of the distance of Travis here from Paris, Texas. This is my favorite of his films, probably closely followed by the one I just watched. But and sort of what you saw a little bit out of Harry Dean Stanton in this movie, if you've seen this one. And then there's some of that sense of awe and joy and love and admiration for the skies, right, that you might see in something like Wings of Desire, because again, our protagonist constantly looks up. He's looking up in general at everything that's bigger than himself, that's greater than himself. As I said before, this is someone who values his place in society and that it should run functionally and everything should work together for the greater good, even if that's as simple as making sure that you've taken a mirror and you've looked underneath a toilet or a sink to see if that's clean. This is the kind of gentle, soulful movie that more people need to see as the world continues to grow and evolve in a I got mine kind of fashion. I need more stuff. I have to become a better consumer. This movie takes all of that, it throws it out the window, and it finds a heart and a spirit in a character who, despite living in a big city, finds a way to make sure that he as an individual is contributing to the greater good. And the director in the supplements and in other people have noted this, but he likes that culture in Tokyo, that he sees people working together toward a common good. I was greatly affected by this movie, and it is visually, it is some of the most stunning city photography, the most calming I've ever seen. I highly recommend you pick up this 4K if you haven't, and I just can't say enough positive things about it, especially if you're an Ozu fan. If you are someone who loves Yasujiro Ozu as much as I do, you absolutely must see this film, and you should own it in your collection. Those are my general thoughts that I had as I was taking some notes here. There are other things I could say about it, but what are your thoughts? What comments can you leave for me about this, and or like if you have something you wanted to share from a perspective about Ozu, right? Like you could share that as well. Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.